further type of game that's available on the island are building type of games, because building involves, at least the way I envisioned it here, it involves giving directions. And giving directions is a very important skill that people need to learn, especially students who are learning a second language. But actually, any speaker should learn how to do this, and you should try some of these games. The game in the very center is called COIK, C-O-I-K. That stands for Clear Only If Known. How many times have you asked for directions and someone said, oh, you can't miss it, after they've given you very complicated directions? Excuse me, I can miss it. It's clear to them because they know where it's at, but it's not clear to me because I don't know where it's at. So this game is set up where you have 5 objects of different colors and different shapes, because teaching colors and shapes is something we often do when we are talking about language. And the person on one side arranges these different objects in an unusual shape or pattern. Then the timer is tipped over, and they have that amount of time to tell the person on the other side how to arrange their objects to match what was on this side. I tell them that what they're really doing is diffusing a bomb. And if they don't succeed on giving and following instructions, at the end, they blow up. And I have a blow-up sound that goes with it. Alongside of this, you'll see useful boards for putting down information that students have discovered about what's good and bad to do when giving directions. And also a how-to board on how to move objects in Second Life. Slightly to the right of that, you can see a tangram game, which is, again, where you have to move things to make a picture. So one student gives directions, the other has to move the objects. And to the very front, on the lower part of the screen, you see what looks like a destroyed house. It is a treehouse tangram. So you have all the pieces there to build a treehouse, and I have built one behind it in a tree. And again, one student tells the other how they should move these pieces in order to create a treehouse that can be put up in a tree. A few miscellaneous things or types of games also visible in the screen. For example, upstairs on the treehouse platform, you can see a conversation game, an icebreaker game, where if you click on the box, it will ask you a question that would be an icebreaker type question, and you answer. And there's also a definition board game on the far side of the platform, where you have a chart with many different ways in which it's useful to use if you want to give a good definition. Students who are learning a second language have to be good at giving definitions, better than anyone else, because they don't know the word for something more often than the rest of us. So how are they going to get somebody to give them that word? They have to explain it. In other words, give a definition. And when they give the definition, the person they're speaking to can give them the word. Now, it's not an arbitrary thing how we make definitions. Sometimes we describe an object by how it looks, sometimes by what it's used for. And these different ways of making definitions are all illustrated on this board. The colored blocks near the board are additional words that can be defined by using the columns and rows of the charts. And the different teams are to take turns moving their colored blocks up to the right place on the chart. Clearly, I like to play games, and I like to make games. And I will be making many more. So if you're interested in these games, especially if they're a game that hasn't been developed or you'd like me to develop, then what you need to do is contact me at a website and a company I've created for this purpose. However, it's not letting me go to that slide. The name of the company that I've developed to create all kinds of tools for educators is called Educators Paradise. And I'm going through all of my slides again with my controls so that I can get up there and put up the logo. I also have a website because I'm creating a company for teaching that I'm taking to the universities in California for teaching English as a second language. And the name of the company is Slesso.net. That's Second Life for English as a second language. Slesso. Okay, so there's the name of my company. If you have questions, you can try to contact me that way. And for now, as my friends pictured here would say, that's all. It's time to go take a look at the games.
Thank you very much there, Barbara. And before people go and have a look at the games, can we all just say thank you and applaud you? And I've got a few notices to give as well.
All right.
These are things which I will confess I should have said right at the beginning. Because I was flustered through being late, I didn't. Could I ask you for the record of this meeting to just give us an idea of who you are, the people who are attending this session, because that will be useful for us and our records to know who is interested in this sort of work. So if everybody who's sitting here, if you could write just a one-liner to say what you do and perhaps your area of research, that would be fantastic for our record. So if perhaps everybody could do that now, that would be lovely. If you tweet, if you do Twitter, please could you write your, I think it's called a tweet handle. So, and I'm going to be saving all of this then as text chat so that we can then be keeping this. So, who you are, what your Twitter is. This is fantastic, isn't it? It really is.
Wonderful games, yes.
This is exactly. I honestly do want these now. Just because I've got some. You know, I really have got quite a few kids now interested in Second Life, and we've got this club, and I'd just like some ready-made stuff. They love making things, but to have things ready-made would be lovely.
I've made some games in English as well. Just the same sort of things where you actually just throw a dice and go and talk, you know, on a square, whatever's on a square. But mine are all in English. But I bet there are some ready-made in French, you know.
Oh, but if there is somewhere just, you know, sharing things, and I'm happy to translate things into French and do things in Italian. And
the small talk game, Cyber made into French.
Who's Coco asking? Coco, who are you asking? Where's Coco? Are you asking Barbara?
Sure. What is that, Petit Boy? I teach at several different places. I teach at the University of California in Irvine. I teach for Oxford seminars. That's teaching TESOL teachers to teach. And I have a few private students. I do freelance editing. And then I'm setting up these two companies, Educators Paradise and Slesso.net, which I'm going to take probably within the next 2 weeks to several of the colleges here and try to get them to come into Second Life. I did teach at Language Lab briefly, but it didn't. It, I don't know. I had a couple of reasons why I no longer wish to teach there.
Somebody set off a timer, an alarm, time to get up.
I've taught all levels. In France, I taught very young children, preschool kids, and I've taught university students and high school kids, and you know, I would do any of it again, but maybe not the high school.
Yeah, just in response to Coco and to Dark, yes, I understand the problems, and that's where, at the moment, I'm part of a project which, in fact, in 20 minutes, there'll be someone talking about the project that I'm involved in and that Carol's involved in. So if you're particularly interested in getting young people into Second Life, and you'll be able to see a solution, if you like, that we've come up with in the UK, which is just a trial at the moment, then come along to Nullity's session, which is at the top of the hour, in 20 minutes' time.
That will only be in Adobe, though. That won't be in World. It'll only be in Adobe.
Right.
I'll find the address.
So